What's up? My name is Ken Dumbo, the MC with the sauce. Don't forget to subscribe to J. Cool.
Good afternoon, countrymen and women and the youth of our country. We're joining the country from Kenya, where we are on duty. Today, as government, we wish to update the nation on the progress being made relating to processes around the funeral program of the late 6th President of Zambia, President Edgar Chagwa Lungu, who passed on 5th June 2025 in South Africa. It is now, from that date, 6 days, and a number of things, a number of statements, a number of actions have since been taken by all interested parties. Yesterday, we did witness a funeral service being conducted in South Africa, and as government, we take opportunity to thank Zambians and non-Zambians, those who attended that particular funeral service of our departed former president in South Africa. That indeed was one of the steps towards a befitting send-off for Zambia's 6th president, President Edgar Chagwa Lungu. I'm now here to indicate to an expectant nation that your government is fully in consultations and engagement relating to arrangements to do with the repatriation of the remains of the late President of Zambia, Mr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu, to his homeland. We, as government, had set out a roadmap to which we had indicated that Wednesday, which is today, the remains of the late president would be arriving back home. Certain intervening variables have since taken place, to which those announced programs have been overtaken by events. And so that it is important that we do let the nation know that we as government understand exactly what has transpired, and we recognize and respect the decisions that have been taken in that particular regard. We want to indicate that as government, we are aware of and the timings with which they expect it to be dispatched with. We want to say that yes, as government, we are very much aware of government protocols that have to be fulfilled as precedented with former presidents who have passed on, including presidents who have passed on while in service. They all fall under one category, and there is a set of precedents on how they have been laid to rest. Now, that notwithstanding, government is cognizant of the fact that once a former president has passed on. A government, and a decent government for that matter, like the one led by President Hakainde Hichilema, should respect and endeavor so to do at all times, to respect the views and wishes of the family. Because at the end of the day, regardless of the various positions one may hold during the subsistence of their life, they still belong to a family, and the family should have a fundamental say and decision taken as to how the processes regarding to how they will be put to rest must be conducted. It is in that regard that the government of President Hakainde Hichilema has approached this matter cautiously to ensure that we respect a grieving family. We help the family to heal out of this difficult moment. And therefore, I wish to indicate that today there is being conducted a meeting, a consultative meeting between government and the family and associates of the family. That is to say, the leadership of the Patriotic Front, who are central and important in this particular matter, as to how we move herefrom. The government had dispatched the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Honorable Mlambo Haimbe, to South Africa to lead a Zambian delegation representing the people of Zambia in order to oversee the repatriation of the remains of Zambia's 60th president, Mr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu. I now want the nation to know that to that delegation, the government has now dispatched the Secretary to Cabinet, Mr. Patrick Kangwa, who is the head of the civil service, given the nature of the transaction of this particular funeral. He is now in South Africa and part of the team that is representing government in engagement arrangements with the family and the Patriotic Front, the party to which the former president was a leader, so that a way forward can be agreed to. I want to indicate here also an appeal to the citizens to remain calm. Your government is being cautious. Your government is being cautious that this is a funeral and not a political fanfare. And therefore, it is importantly expedient and necessary that at the end of the day, whatever is said and done must be cognizant of the fact that there is a grieving family whose injury is going to be enduring and indelible for life, that we should not be able to add jeopardy to the circumstances, the unfortunate circumstances they and we find ourselves in. And so, statements that are being made from various quarters that may be capable and or have a tendency to undermine a smooth transition of repatriation of the remains of the former president back to his homeland for a decent and befitting send-off. Those statements should be understood, because we are all grieving. And in this moment of sorrow, some may not contain the pain and may end up saying certain things that otherwise ordinarily would not have been expected to be said. We did hear yesterday, for instance, statements from the Vice President of the Patriotic Front, Mr. Given Rubinda, stating and asking why President HH did not announce the death of late President Edgar Chagwa Lungu. We want to remind the nation that on the side of government, the first person to announce the demise, untimely demise of President Edgar Chagwa Lungu was President Hakainde Hichilema. And we want to say that as a decent, family of politicians, the New Dawn administration did not want to rush things and give precedence or preeminence to family to confirm that particular occurrence. But the first person on behalf of the Zambian government to announce the demise of President Edgar Chagwa Lungu was President Hakainde Hichilema. Therefore, caused by the leadership of the Patriotic Front that President HH did not announce in this particular regard, as facts speak for themselves, should be understood to be one of those moments where emotions have overridden, and we must tolerate that as a people. I also want to indicate here that because this is not the first time that as a country we are witnessing this sad development of losing one amongst our number, but more importantly, a president and or former presidents. Announcements of such occurrences in the past are well documented. I will pick a few. For instance, when the founding president of this country, Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, passed on in 2021, just advent to the general elections, that particular occurrence was announced by Secretary to Cabinet Simon Miti. It was announced by Secretary to Cabinet Simon Miti that the former president of Zambia, Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, has passed on. No one made an issue out of that. When former President Rupia Banda passed on, that was announced by Chief Government Spokesperson and Minister of Information and Media, my colleague, Honorable Chushi Kasanda, and not the president. So it is that when President Chiluba passed on, such has been the tradition. We are now wondering why, in this particular case, there is a demand that President HH should have been the one to announce, when in fact, on the behalf of his administration and government, he was the first one to announce. We are calling on our colleagues in the leadership of the Patriotic Front that in this funeral, we are together. We are one. The same way we have always been one under the banner, one Zambia, one nation, notwithstanding our divergent political alignment. That doesn't take us away from being a one people, one Zambia, one nation, to which we stand tall and proud as citizens. So at all times, regardless of the circumstances we find ourselves in, even in the most painful moments such as this one, let us remember that we are one people and that we have one country and that we have a country whose life must move on therefrom after this deep loss that we have been occasioned to. There should be no misunderstanding here that there is politics. Yes, there is politics, but Zambians are known for one thing. Whenever we are faced with such a calamity, we come together. The same way we came together when former FDD leader, Honorable Edith Nawaki, passed on. The same way we came together when Mike Mlongoti passed on, we came together. The same way all the former presidents of this country passed on, whether as former president or as incumbent, as then that they were, we came together. This should not be a departure point. And as government, we remain resolute and firm that we shall do everything possible to ensure that we do facilitate and participate and give a befitting, dignified farewell send-off to Zambia's 60th president. We know he had a political party he belonged to. He had friends. He had supporters. But at the end of the day, he was a Zambian. And he was a Zambian president. So, he belongs to all of us. But we respect, of course, that family takes precedence. And that is the reason why we have been quite deliberate not to engage so much, because we wanted to give the family leverage to lead the way, because their loss as a family cannot be equated to the rest of us, including those who are wearing political regalia. The loss to family is deeper. And so, those of us wearing political regalia should not pretend and hijack this moment of sorrow from the family for political gain. There should be life after this. And from our end as government, we are going to ensure that we remain focused and resiliently consultative with the family and the political party to which the former president belonged to, so that the right things are done. We are fully aware that out there are some citizens, including those who support the party in government or the government of the day, who think that we have given too much leeway to allow political mudslinging take center stage over this funeral. That is surely unintended from our part as government. on the cabinet that was held on the 6th, Friday, 6th of, June 2025, to which the main agenda was to talk about how to handle this particular calamity and loss and funeral, President HH made it explicitly clear that let us mourn former President Edgar Chagwa Lungu with befitting dignity as a former head of state for the Republic of Zambia. And so it is that when you have seen that many statements have been given, we have not responded, we are in keeping with the presidential directive that President Edgar Chagwa Lungu deserves a respectful, dignified send-off. We are cognizant as government that President Edgar Chagwa Lungu will certainly attract international presence at his final send-off. And that is why government has insisted that the mourning venue or funeral venue is Belvedere Lodge, in order to allow those who are not politically aligned or inclined, to allow those, who may require a neutral venue to come and express their grief and solidarity with the family that they so do. And to expect certain dignitaries, for instance, to go to a PF secretariat to offer condolences might be demanding too much. We respect their decision. And we know this feeling because as UPND, to speak in that regard, we've undergone this before. We know it's painful. But at the end of the day, politics is not about individuals and clubs. It's about a nation. So when the nation calls political players to duty, we must play in line with the requirements of national obligation of patriotism, which is in line with Article 8 of our Republican Constitution relating to national values and principles. Patriotism. We are calling upon all citizens and our colleagues in the Patriotic Front that let us be patriotic citizens. There will be no profit in trying to display disorder in a country. We must all detest this with utmost disdain because we love this country we call home, and it's the only one where we enjoy the freedoms we do and dictate what we want to be done in our country as a collective. So, the nation should be expectant to be briefed later on in the day relating to the outcome of the meeting of consultations that is presently taking place in South Africa that will give a clear guideline on how we proceed here from moving ahead towards, putting to rest the former president of Zambia in a respected manner that he deserves. I end here and thank you, dear countrymen and women and the youth of our country. Let's remain peaceful and calm. This storm and dark cloud which has been hovering above our country will clear. But the duty we have for now is to send off Zambia's 6th president Edgar Chagwalongo in a dignified and respected manner to ourselves and to the international community to which he belonged and saved humanity.
Let me know what you think about this video. Thanks for tuning in to JQ News. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for the latest updates on tech, politics, and everything in between. Until next time, stay cool.